Unit 2 Central Government.
Can you define government? The group of people with the authority to govern a country or a state. A particular ministry in the office is called a government. So, what does the government do? It lays down rules and makes laws. It ensures we live according to the laws and follow rules. How does the government function? The government functions at three levels: 1, 2, and 3. At the level 1, we have local government. At level 2, we have the state government. And at the topmost, we have the central government.
And Union Legislature of India. India has a central government called the Union or Federal Government. The functions of the government are divided into three branches: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The legislature makes the laws, the executive enforces the laws, and the judiciary defines and interprets the laws. The Union executive consists of the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, his Council of Ministers, and the Attorney General of India. The President is the head of the Indian Union. He or she is the first citizen of India. He or she acts as the symbol of solidarity, unity, and integrity of the nation. The President is not elected directly by the citizens. All the members of the Parliament, MPs, and the members of state legislative assemblies, MLAs, elect the President. A person who is a citizen of India and has completed 35 years of age can contest to the presidential elections. All major appointments such as the Chief Justice of India, the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts, the governors, the election commissioners, and ambassadors to other countries are appointed by the President.
Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. The residence and the office of the President are located in the same building. However, he has two other office cum residences where he conducts office at least once a year. They are the Retreat Building at Shimla and the Rashtrapati Nilayam at Hyderabad. Now we'll see the qualifications for the election as President. Next comes the removal of the President. Can the President be removed from the office? Yes, of course. The President may be writing under his hand addressed to the Vice President can resign his office. The President may, for the violation of the Constitution, be removed from the office by impeachment. Impeachment means removal of the government officers by using the proper trials. The impeachment action can be brought about in the form of resolution in either of the houses of the Parliament. We'll see the privileges of the President. According to Article 361(1), the President or the Governor of a state shall not be answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of his office.
The Vice President acts on behalf of the President when the position of the President is vacant or he is unable to perform his duties.
Let us see the qualifications for the election as the Vice President. Now we'll see the election and the term of the Vice President. The Vice President is elected not directly by the people but the method of indirect election. He is elected by the members of an electoral college consisting of the members of both the houses of the Parliament. The term of the office of the Vice President is 5 years. Removal of the Vice President. The Vice President may be removed from his office by the resolution of the Council of States passed by a majority of all the then members of the Council and agreed to by the House of the People. Next, we'll see the functions of the Vice President.
The President is only the nominal head, as the Prime Minister is the real head of the government. The President appoints the leader of the majority party or the coalition of parties that has a majority in the Lok Sabha as the Prime Minister. The President appoints the Council of Ministers on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister distributes portfolios among the members of the Council.
Duties and functions of the Prime Minister. Article 78 mentioned the duties of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister decides the rank of his ministers and distributes various departments. The Prime Minister decides the date and the agenda of the meeting of the Cabinet which he presides. The Prime Minister is the head of the Cabinet and the other ministers or his colleagues. The Prime Minister supervises the work of various ministers. As the leader of the nation, the Prime Minister represents our nation at all the international conferences like the Commonwealth, Summit of the Non-Aligned Nations and SAARC nations.
Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers is an official name for the body that includes all the ministers. It is a collective decision-making body of the Government of India consisting of a group of ministers headed by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is free to choose the Council of Ministers as long as they are members of the Parliament. So do all the Council Ministers have the same profile? Well, no. The Council of Ministers is ranked in 3 categories: Cabinet Ministers, Minister of State with independent charges, and Minister of State. Cabinet Ministers are usually top-level leaders of ruling party or parties who are in charge of major ministries. Cabinet Ministers meet to take decisions in the name of the Council of Ministers. Thus, the Cabinet is inner ring of the Council. The decision of the Cabinet is binding on all ministers. Minister of State with independent charges are usually in charge of smaller ministries. They participate in the Cabinet meetings when specially invited. Minister of State are required to assist Cabinet ministers. So what do these Council of Ministers do? The Council of Ministers make policies and programs to solve issues before the country. They prepare the annual budget, propose new laws in Parliament. The Cabinet Secretary provides assistance to the Council of Ministers and acts as an advisor.
In order to limit the size of a ministry, the Constitution of India has been amended in 2004. According to the 91st Amendment to the Constitution in 2004, the total number of ministers of the Council of Ministers, including a Prime Minister, should not exceed 15% of the total members of the Lok Sabha. A person who is not a member of either house of the Parliament can be appointed as a minister, but he cannot continue as a minister for more than 6 months unless he becomes a member of either house of the Parliament. That may be by election or nomination. Council of Ministers or the ministry as a body is collectively responsible to the legislature. The ministers are also individually responsible to the executive head, that is the President.
The Union Legislature of India is called as the Parliament. It makes laws for the country and ensures that the government in power is responsible to the smooth functioning of democracy. The Parliament consists of the President and the 2 chambers or houses known as the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha or the House of the People is also known as the lower house of the Parliament. The members of the Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people of the country on the basis of the universal adult suffrage. The Lok Sabha exercises the real power on behalf of the people. For the purpose of election, the states and the union territories are divided into constituencies. The candidate who secures the maximum votes represents his or her constituency in the Lok Sabha. The total composition of the Lok Sabha is a maximum of 545 members, which includes 2 members from the Anglo-Indo community, all chosen by direct election. The Rajya Sabha or the Council of States is also known as the upper house of the Parliament. It functions as a representative of the 28 states and 7 union territories of India. These members are elected indirectly by the elected members of the state legislative assemblies. The maximum strength of the Rajya Sabha can be 250 members. Out of this number, 233 members represent the states and union territories. The other 12 members are nominated by the President. These members are people having special knowledge or practical experience in the field of literature, science, art, or social service.
Now we'll see the Speaker. The Lok Sabha is presided over by the Speaker, who is elected by its members. The Speaker occupies an essential position in our parliamentary democracy. While the office of Speaker is vacant or the Speaker is absent from the sitting of the House, the Deputy Speaker presides the Houses. Next, we are going to see about the Attorney General of India. The Constitution has provided for office of the Attorney General of India. He is the highest law officer in the country. He is appointed by the President. He must be a person who is qualified to be appointed the Judge of the Supreme Court. The duties and functions of the Attorney General of India: to give advice to the Government of India upon such legal matters. Attorney General of India has the right of audience in all the courts in the territory of India.
3. The Judiciary. The judiciary is the most important organ of the government as it safeguards the rights of the people. It decides the disputes of the individuals and gives punishment to those who infringe laws, but the punishment is given according to law. Supreme Court is the highest court in the country which looks into the functioning of the courts below it. If a person is unhappy with the judgment of a lower court, he can move up the ladder and appeal to the higher court. The court deals with two types of cases: civil and criminal. All cases which are related to property matters, damage of goods, etc. come under civil cases, and the cases of theft, robbery, murder, etc. come under criminal cases. Criminal Procedure Code (CRPC) provides that trials be conducted publicly except in certain cases involving state secrets. No person can be arrested without warrants except in cases where delay may cause problems. The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest authority of law in our country. It is situated in New Delhi. It has one Chief Justice and 25 other judges. The President appoints the Chief Justice, and with his consultation, he appoints other judges of the Supreme Court. Trivia. The Supreme Court of India was inaugurated on 20th January 1950. The Supreme Court consists of a Chief Justice and 30 associate judges. Presently, on 29th April 2017, there are 28 judges including Chief Justice of India. For appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court, a person must be a citizen of India. He should have served as an advocate in a high court for at least 10 years, or as a judge in the high court for 5 years, or he should be a distinguished jurist in the eyes of the President. The judges of the Supreme Court hold office till the age of 65 years. Once appointed, they cannot easily be removed from their office. If found guilty, he can be removed by a process called impeachment. A motion to this effect is passed by the Parliament. The procedure for the removal of a judge is made very complicated, which bears testimony to the fact that since independence, no judge has ever been removed from his office. This is done to ensure that judiciary works independently. The Chief Justice and other judges of the Supreme Court are paid handsome salaries and given many benefits and allowances. The objective behind this is to prevent corruption. Powers and functions. The Supreme Court is the apex court of our judicial system. It has wide jurisdiction of powers, which can be divided into 1. Original, 2. Appellate, 3. Advisory. Original jurisdiction. In certain cases, the Supreme Court is the sole authority to discharge the function. Such cases originate in the Supreme Court only, which include the disputes between two state governments, or the disputes between the central and the state government, or the disputes between the central government and some of the state on the other hand. It also includes the cases involving the violation of the Constitution. Appellate jurisdiction. As Supreme Court is the highest judicial body, it hears appeals against the judgment of the High Court. It can also review its own judgment. It hears appeals when a High Court certifies that a particular case should be tried in the Supreme Court. Moreover, when a High Court reverses the decision of the lower court and awards death punishment, an appeal can be made in the Supreme Court. Advisory function. The President can consult Supreme Court for legal advice on public issues. However, this advice is not binding on the President. The Supreme Court is the court of records. All decisions and proceedings are recorded and printed. The lower courts in similar cases can refer to these decisions. Judicial review. The Supreme Court has the power to review the laws passed by the legislature or the orders issued by the executive and check whether they are in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. If the orders or law is in violation of the Constitution, the Supreme Court can declare them null and void.
Your lesson got ended. Hope you people are able to understand all the three organs: executive, legislature and judiciary. Go through your PDF for your book. Get ready for your assignments. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair.